Hey guys, this might be an epic fail, but take out your notes really quick. Okay, so you're at a restaurant. You're at McDonald's, and you see that a burger and a fries and a drink cost $10. Do I know how much each one of them costs? Not really, because they could all be different combinations. But I know together they're 10. So I can write in algebra. I can write an equation. I can say a burger plus fries, and we'll say plus a drink. Plus a drink equals $10. But I don't know how much each of those cost yet, so there's nothing I can do because I can't solve more than one thing at a time because they could be different combinations. It could be a burger could be 0, fries could be 0, and a drink could be 10. Doesn't make sense, but that would work. All right, down here we have 2 drinks and a burger is $9. So I can write this as 2 drinks plus a burger is $9. Again, I don't know what these could be because it's really hard to solve 2 variables at the same time. They could be different combinations of things that add up to 9. But the last one kind of gives it away. 3 burgers equals $15. Okay, 3 burgers equals $15. And because there's only one variable in here, I can solve this. This I can actually use algebra and figure out. So all of these statements are true. We just don't know what each letter is yet. Maybe in your head you do. But algebraically, here's what we would do. We would start with the one we know, and we'd figure it out. And we'd say, okay, we're going to divide by 3. And burgers equal $5. Now, that's a true piece of information. So I can go up to the rest of my equations now and plug in or substitute $5. I'm going to do it in red. I'm going to substitute in $5 for burgers. Okay, normally you'd rewrite it, but I'm just substituting it in because we know what it is. So we took this information and we plugged it into another equation that we knew because apparently all of them are correct. Okay, now that makes our second equation, this one right here, only have one letter in it. Now there's just 2d plus 5 equals 9. Okay, 2d plus 5 equals 9. We're going to subtract 5. 2d equals 4. Divide by 2. And now we know this one is drinks equal $2. Okay, drinks equal $2. Okay, so now I can substitute in 2 for drinks. So that's 2 times 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9. Yep. $2 for the drink. Yep. And now I'm left with a new equation up here because we substituted in 2 for the drink. And we get 5 plus f plus 2 equals 10. And since we only have one letter we have to figure out, we can do this. This is 7 plus f equals 10. I subtract the 7, f equals 3. All right, so fries were $3, drinks were $2, and burgers were $5. Okay, all that this shows is that you can take information from one equation and plug it into another equation if all those equations kind of work together or are true at the same time. This is called a system of equations. And it's when more than one equation is true. So if you looked at a menu, there's a bunch of different equations you could make up, a bunch of different prices, but all of these equations were true. So they're a system of equations or equations that you can work together. So that's what we're going to work on today. And one of the strategies we used was called substitution. As soon as we found out one thing, we substituted it in for another. Now, normally we would take a lot of steps with this, but let's see if you guys are clever enough to get it this quickly. Okay, I'm going to go to the first page. Okay. Now, we've got equations that have 2 letters in them. So we can't really solve them, but we can use information from them to solve. Okay, I'm gonna erase this first one. I'm gonna come back to it. But what if I had my first equation was like y equals 3? oh, then I just take this information and say, oh, y is equal to 3, then I'm going to substitute that in for the y in my next equation, just like we did with the hamburgers and drinks and fries. So I would say 3 equals x minus 8. I would add 8, and say 11 equals x. You don't have to write this because this is not the right problem. And whenever we know, then we have to go back and say, okay, what is y? We already know what y is. Y is 3 because it told us in the problem. We have to figure out both x and y in these problems. And at the end, you're going to put them in parentheses and say the first one is x and the second one is y. We always list them in x, y. So that's what it would be if that were the problem. But the problem is a little harder. That's what I would normally give you if we're going slow. But we're not going slow. So let's see if you guys can understand what I'm doing here. Okay, so now it would be really easy if they told us what y was equal to, like y was equal to 3, but they do tell us what y was equal to. They're saying y is equal to x minus 8. Now, so y is the same thing as x minus 8. It would have been a lot easier if they just told us y equals 5, but they're telling us y equals x minus 8. So since we know what y equals, we can plug in x minus 8 for y. We don't know exactly what it equals, but we do know what it equals. So I'm going to substitute in x minus 8 for this y right here. And the reason why I do that, and then I'm going to copy down the rest of this equation normally, I'm just going to plug in x minus 8 for y because the top equation tells me y is x minus 8. So x minus 8 equals negative 2x plus 1. Why is that important? Because when you look at my equation now, there's only one letter in it. There's only x's in it. It's kind of like only having hamburgers or only having fries. Now I can solve it. So I've got letters. I've got numbers. Okay, I'll make the other side. I'll say I'll add 2x over here. I'll add 2x over here. That'll get rid of it over there. So I'll add 8, and I'll add 8, and that gets rid of it over here, and I get 3x equals 9. Divide by 3, and x equals 3. So I'm done, right? Not quite. I have to find out all the ingredients, all the burgers, the fries, and the drink. I need to know what y is also. So now that I know what x is, I can start over from the beginning and go to the easier equation and plug in 3 to right there and say y is 3 for x minus 8, so y equals negative 5. So my answer was x equals 3, y equals negative 5. So that step of substituting back into the beginning once you know it is what we did with the hamburgers, right? We went all the way back to the beginning. We kind of worked from the backwards up, and we do it over here. Once you learn one, you do the other. Let's see if is 3 negative 5 one of my answers. Yes, it is. So this would be I. Okay. Let's do a harder one. A harder one would look like this, like O. E is exactly the same. O is going to be a little different. O is pretty cool. O tells us the first equation that tells us exactly what y is equal to. That's a great piece of knowledge. Y is equal to negative x minus 5. Okay, so I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to substitute this in for this y. So when I rewrite the next equation, I'm going to write 2x plus, and then what is y? Y was negative x minus 5, okay, equals 5. All right, if I combine a plus and a minus, that's just a minus, so minus x. If I combine a plus and a minus, that's a minus 5. So this thing was 2x minus 5 equals 5, or x minus 5 equals 5. I add 5 onto these sides, and x equals 10. Okay, x equals 10. So I have to go back to the top and say y equals negative x minus 5. So y equals negative 10, because I plug in 10, but the negative was there. Negative 10 minus 5, y equals negative 15. So my answer is 10 for x, negative 15 for y. Let's see. Is that there? Sure is. Okay. Oh. Okay, there's some harder ones. Okay, cool thing. They don't have to tell you y or x. They can tell you either. In this one, they tell you what x is equal to in the second one. X is the same thing as 2y plus 2. They're equal to each other. So I can take 2y plus 2 and plug it in for the x. So now I have 5 times 2y plus 2, because I need 5 of those x's, and each x is 2y plus 2, minus y equals 10. So this is pretty hard. This is pretty hard. So I'm going to do my multiplication. So I get 5 times 2y is 10y plus 10 minus y equals 10. Okay, so 9y plus 10 equals 10. Right, it's because I just subtracted I just combined them. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 10, 9y equals 0, y equals 0. Okay, y equals 0. I'm going to plug this one back into here. So x equals 2 times 0 plus 2. X equals 2 times 0 is 0 plus 2. X equals 2. So my combination that works for both of these is x equals 2, y equals 0. Let's see. Yep. Oh. All right, I'm going to do another video in a second.